There's a tool that I created when I filed bankruptcy and I knew that I wanted to become an entrepreneur. I knew that if I was going to get something that I never had, I had to become somebody that I had never been. And so I created this 90-day syllabus where I took one topic and focused on that one topic for 90 days. For me, consistency was the number one thing hindering me from going to the next level. And that's the topic I did first. I want to show you how I created this 90-day syllabus. It's where you truly take yourself through a university-style learning experience so that you can cultivate in you the person that can achieve the goals that you want. I'm going to drop you in a training where you're going to see me teaching this in a way that I am inspiring new entrepreneurs to take on the same mindset. You are going to love it. Check it out. If you're doing the 90-day syllabus, and for those of you that don't know what that is, it was one of the first things that I ever did once I filed bankruptcy, and I realized, okay, this can't be my life. This does not sound like anything I wanted to be a part of. But I also knew that the person I was, really, I didn't have the tools, I didn't have the mindset, I just didn't have the makings of being anything better than what I was at the time. And I was very aware of that. And so what I ended up doing is I said, you know what I'm gonna do? One of the things that hurt me the most, or I couldn't be consistent in anything. So if you've heard me say this, even if you're in phase one, or if when you went through phase one, I say this illustration a lot, but I was a sprinter when I tried new things, which meant I came out the gate full force, full of energy. I could show me what the goal is, I'm gonna run after it. And then I was fatigued, okay, a mile in. I was fatigued and I was sitting on the sideline, and somebody that had the capacity, the training, the lung capacity, the discipline to be a marathon runner would always run past me and be able to get the things that I said I wanted, because I used all my excitement up in the transaction of purchasing mentorship. I used all my excitement up in the first few weeks, and then I just did not have anything left to bring me across the finish line. So I knew that about myself. I was not confused, okay? I was very self-aware. So one of the first things that I wanted to learn when I wanted to become somebody different was consistency. Like, how do I stay consistent in a thing where the excitement that I had when I signed up for the thing has worn off? Like, what do I do in that situation? And so I began to read books and watch podcasts and submerge myself in that topic of consistency. And I said, I'm just going to focus on it for 90 days. And I wanted to treat it like it was an antibiotic. The reason why I use that analogy is because when you take antibiotics, the doctor always tells you need to take this for 7 days, twice a day for 7 days. And they say to you, they make it a point to say to you, because we hard-headed, you're going to feel better after about 2 days. Okay. You're going to feel a lot better. Take it until the medication is gone. Why? You want to know why? I'll tell you why. Because what happens is the antibiotics will kill enough cells where you don't have symptoms, but it does not mean that the egregious cells are all dead in your body. To pop in here for a second, okay? Tiffany from the future. I'm actually back in my home office in this clip, but I just want to make sure that if any of you that are watching are aspiring entrepreneurs and are interested in learning the business that I started, that I scaled, and I sustained to this day, 10 years later, I still have this business and it's thriving, doing incredible, and I teach others how to build the same one. I want you to go to tiffany'smasterclass.com, register for my free training. It is live and it is in depth, okay? I do not waste your time. Just because it's free does not mean that I take your time for granted. I give you every single strategy I did to start, everything I did to scale, and everything that I'm currently doing to sustain the success that we have. I shall see you soon. Back to the video. And so taking the full dose of the medication means that while the symptoms have went away, there's still cells that would love to keep multiplying. They're just not aggressive enough. They don't have enough volume to cause you to have many symptoms as you had before. So you want to take all of it so that it can kill all of the bad cells that are trying to take you out the game. Now, when I was doing the consistency thing for the 90 days, I knew that at about 60 days in, I was probably going to feel like I had got it together. I think I got this. I think I got it mastered. But I said, you know what? I'm going to always do the full 90 because I'm going to treat it like maybe my symptoms have gone away, but maybe there's some dormant or maybe there's some lingering that left alone could multiply, and then I could end up back where I started. And so that's why I always commit to 90, no matter how much I feel like I've mastered it along the way. And I always commit to 90 for whatever one topic is. So I pick a singular topic. I've done consistency before. I've done discipline before. I've done finances before, right? Everything was about just having a financial foundation on the basics of what I needed to do and just acting as if I know nothing. reflecting, being humble enough to be like, what if I got this all wrong and I need to start from ground zero and rebuild myself from there? And so that was a game changer for me. Me doing that got me in rooms that people couldn't pay to be in, because I just had a completely different mindset from doing these 90-day intervals. And so I pray the same thing for you, Miss Brown. Okay. And
receive it. Thank you.
Okay,
so
you're
much.
welcome. You're welcome. And so what her question was is, one of the things that I say is I would read a book a month. I'm supposed to read 3 books over the 90 days. That just equates to 1 book a month. So I would read a book a month, and then I would always do 2 hours of application hours. And she said, I don't really know what that means, but I'm going to do those as well. I said, okay, well, let me explain that, because maybe it's not in the portal. So the application hour is literally where a lot of times we read business books or personal development books. We read them like novels. You know, we're in the car, we have them on, and they're really great. Okay. And by osmosis, they are changing us to a certain degree, right? Just because you're hearing something different, it's going to have you thinking something different. It's going to have you make better decisions. But when you really just sit down and say, you know what, I want to take 3 things out of this book that I literally want to add this to my everyday life. I want to take 3 things out of this book that I am going to now include in my DNA. I want to include it in my lifestyle. I'm going to include it in my schedule. I'm going to include it in my decision-making process. I'm going to include it in the way that I communicate with others. And so it's really searching that out. So as you're listening, you're actually listening for your 3 things. You say, dang, I'm going to read a whole book. Why shouldn't I do 10 things? But you're not going to do the 10 things. You're not going to be able to keep up and remember the 10 things that you have committed to including in your everyday life. So you're thinking of the top 3 things. And if you grab 4 or 5 that you can pull off, great. So you're going to be thinking about those top 3 things, and those top 3 things are what you're going to be making notes on. And then when they get into that topic, you're taking copious notes because you want to see how you can include that. And then when you have your application hours, you're looking at, how do I include this? Is this something where I need to schedule something on my calendar to execute this? If it's consistency, is one of the recommendations they gave me was find an accountability partner of somebody that is a no-nonsense friend. Okay, let me give them a call and set my accountability structure up. Maybe some of the advice that they gave you is clearing out some things so you can be consistent in some of the things you want to do that you shouldn't be doing. And maybe that's the time where you can begin to audit your days and audit how you're spending your mornings and your evenings, and what can I take away that I'm doing now and replace it with something that actually is going to benefit me. So your application hours are where you make sure that the things that you're actually reading or hearing, if you're listening to an audiobook, you're actually pulling it out, extracting it out, and applying it to your everyday life. So I always recommend to pick 3 a book. If you get more, great, but 3 is a good way where you can actually be able to measure that you implemented the standard. It's hard to measure 5, 6, 7 things from one book. Okay.